Yeah.
2, 1.
I'm just going to watch the first fight or so. We'll see where you're at, and then I'm going to start talking about things.
Escort the payload.
Okay.
1.
So,
Attackers incoming.
you roll out right side, that's fine.
The payload.
Only got a shield to shoot at, so we shoot a shield, it's fine. There's a Hanzo up there, but D.Va dives him. But we're paying attention, and we try to get the shots on him. It's all fine, right? And we're hugging this corner, and I love that we're hugging this corner, although now we gotta worry about Chef Kev over here, because he can log us. And this is the part I don't like. Now, how many people are you looking at? You're not looking at one enemy. You're now looking at almost the entire enemy team. You are standing in open space. And you die there, right? And, like, you had your roll, too. So here's what you wanted to do. We got this Rhine shield, and we got the cart for a bit of cover. So we cross with them. And then when we get to here, we roll. And now we're in cover. And now we can peek cover and just peek this Hanzo and start poking this Hanzo. And then we can hide. We can even, like, try to peek a different angle if we want. We can push up here, etc. Yeah? Always, always, always be in cover. You do not ever want to get caught out in open space like this. Develop agoraphobia. Open space is where people go to die, right? Almost every time you died, it's because you left cover. I can guarantee it. This is my first time ever watching you play, and I can all but guarantee almost every time you die in this game, it's going to be when you leave cover, not while you're in cover, right? And I'm not saying this is you, but I've heard this before. Well, like, if I'm in cover, how am I supposed to shoot them? Well, you can still peek one person and shoot them, but don't peek the entire enemy team, right? There's no reason to be suicidal. Pretend these people could actually shoot you. Hey, Nick, thanks for the Prime sub. 15 months, goddamn. And then just one other thing about this. I'm not saying you have to do this, but this could have been nice. So, we're here. We know this Hanzo is here, right? I would, right now, cross with shield and or roll, and I would get my ass over here underneath immediately, because this Hanzo is going to have to, like, realistically, he's probably going to drop out this way, if he's smart, right? But whichever way he goes, we want to start pushing up this way so we can, like, either get angles on his teammates or get an angle on him as he's trying to run away, right? So, like, thinking ahead to where they're going to go. Is that Hanzo going to stand his ground when the D.Va dives him? Nah. Where's he likely to run to? Can I get an angle on that ahead of time? So, like, maybe, actually, you would just come up here to get that angle. Is actually really the thing, right? Because, like, this high ground lets you peek who you want to peek, lets you force this Hanzo off and pinch him with your D.Va, which is really nice, and lets you get some follow-up shots on him, whatever. I think there was a reason I wanted you to cross there, so now I'm going to watch this again. Oh, right, because this is what he does. He does the dumb thing because he needs to get away from the D.Va. So right here, roll, shoot, and then you can take cover. Yeah. You have cover to roll after him to close the distance, right? So like take this shot, roll, maybe fan. You got to be careful because you're peeking a lot of people, but you're also at range, and like Hanzo's the only person who can one-shot you. This Cassidy all the way over there is going to have fall off. Sig's not going to touch you. Hog's not going to touch you. The Ana might hit you, but like she has to shoot you a few times. So like you'd be safe to roll into cover to get close, execute somebody, and then chill as your tank pushes around, right? Instead, you stand behind your tank. And that's actually, unless you're playing specifically Symmetra or Mei, it is the worst place for both you and your Reinhardt for you to stand. Being behind your Reinhardt is terrible for him, and it's terrible for you, right? It's terrible for you, because this is where the main angle, right? It's low ground main in the middle. This is where everyone is shooting. This shield is breaking, and like Ryan, you want him to be swinging his hammer, throwing fire strikes anyway. So like, you don't want to trust that shield no matter what, because like you want your Ryan doing things. If your Ryan is just holding shield, you guys are taking a 5v6 with Rectangle Man here doing nothing, right? They'll just break his shield. He has to be swinging his hammer. So anyway, I'm going to show you a couple of things here. One, almost every point of every map of this game is built on 3 lanes, right? Some of them get a little bit funky and weird. Some of the maps like have 2 or 4. Shit gets weird sometimes, but it's like generally 3 lanes for at least most of the time, most of the maps, yeah? If Ryan is here, and let's say, you know, your diva flew up here. So if you, not that anyone right now is going to be coming this way, not in this elo, right? But if, for example, you on a DPS were here, you guys are holding all 3 lanes. No one can get through you to your backline. Your backline is safe. Now, to be fair, you have a silver backline, so they're going to stand out in open space and get shot and die anyway. But flankers will never ever get to them, at least. They at least won't be dying to flankers, right? The enemy team is going to have to hit shots at range to kill them, so, like, you have a bit of an advantage there, right? But this is, like, the basics of map control. And the other piece of this that's really important to understand and why you don't want to be right behind your tanks. This is just illustrative. So let's say you got the enemy team, they're wherever, they're doing whatever, right? Your team, they're wherever, they're doing whatever. You right here with them. Any individual on the enemy team only has to look in one direction. They can shoot in one direction, they can hide behind a single wall and avoid all 6 of you, they can shield, they can do whatever. And it's just a 6v6 shootout in main. Who hits more shots and does more damage? But if you are, for example, here, then any individual on this team can turn to look at you, which means they are not, by definition, shooting your team. Or they can look at your team, which means they are not, by definition, shooting you, right? They can only shoot one or the other. So if, for example, 2 people look at you, then your team is taking a 5v4. If no one turns to look at you, your team's taking a disadvantaged 6v5, but you're shooting them behind their cover, and no one's looking at you, so it's free. You should be able to get easy picks this way. Especially since if you're like 90 degrees to somebody, and they're like looking at these people, and they're ADing, right? Strafing side to side this way to avoid this fire. What does that side to side look like to you? Looks like nothing. They're not even moving. Your shots get easier to hit, right? So either you get a pick doing this, or you get 2 or 3 people looking at you while you are standing around cover, have an escape route, and like maybe even your supports back here can see you to heal you. Like, so you're untouchable, right? Then it doesn't matter if you don't kill anything. If you get 2 or more people looking at you, the rest of your team's taking this advantaged fight. This is how you make space for your tanks. Tanks need to make space for their DPS, but DPS also need to make space for their tanks. Making space is a group effort. It is all of you together. The only difference, and I do mean the only difference, between a tank and a DPS is tanking is DPS on easy mode. You do the same amount of damage, you have the exact same job, but you have double or triple the health pool and way more livable CDs and etc., right? You, Cassidy, have to do the same job as this Rhyme. Literally. And he has to do the same job as you. He has to be doing damage and killing things. But I digress. What this means is you want the enemy to see your Reinhardt first, because he has a shield. Like, Diva has DM. Tanks can live, right? They got the health pool, they got all kinds of good shit that helps them live. So, 6 people look at your Reinhardt, and he gets to live for a couple of moments, right? That gives you a moment to then pop up on the off angle after they've started shooting your Rhine to either split attention or get free picks. And then, if you, let's say, split attention, that makes room for your Rhine to push. When your Rhine pushes, they either have to back up or they turn to look back at your Rhine. Either way, that makes space for you to move, which then makes space for your tanks to move, which then makes space for you to move. Rinse, repeat. Yeah, it's a leapfrog effect, and you all have to be helping each other. And if you are just right behind, you're not helping make space at all. You're shooting shields and tanks, and that's all you're doing, right? Okay. That was a lot for the first 30 seconds in the first fight of the game. Let's watch some more of your play. Hey, Tramer, hey, Alu, and hey, Lily. Goddamn, everyone's here. And Harley. And so this fight's over. You have a BAP and a dead Rhine and a Sombra who's just going to teleport out, right? The fight's over. If you want to peek and maybe go for an exit pick or do a little bit of damage, build some more ult charge, because like you're only 18% so far, then that's kind of fine. But what you absolutely cannot do right now is die. You just cannot stagger. You guys are waiting to regroup to take a fight. You dying right now just means another 10 seconds before you guys get to take a fight. So we poke. Here you're peeking out way too far from this cover, but whatever. We poke. We take some damage. And then we get our ass behind this cover and we stop shooting them. We're about to die. Just hide. You got supports behind you. They'll heal you up, but you got to give them a chance to do it, right? And instead you just stay here, still peeking this, and you die immediately. And now your diva has gone in without regrouping. This is what happens in Silver. You guys have, it's a minute into this game, and you guys have had one single fight as a team. And the last 30 seconds have just been staggering one after the other, not getting a fight. You have lost an entire fight so far this game, and we're only a minute in. You should have had 2 fights by now. You've only had 1. And, like, it's your entire team doing it, but it's also you, right? So we can at least fix ourselves. We can't stop them from feeding, but we can stop feeding, right? And now we fed again. I'm gonna count until we get... now our Ana feeds. I'm gonna wait until... I wonder how deep into this we're gonna get another 6v fight. Got 20k damage on right-click man and still lost today? Oof. Do we actually have all 6 now? No, we still don't have all 6. Your Ana just respawned. She's still in spawn. We still don't have 6 people. And this is another thing to note. Not only are you not paying attention to the kill feed, you have never once so far this game looked around to see where your team even is. It's a team game. How can you possibly play with them if you don't even know where they are or what they're doing? Like, it's not their, especially since you're a DPS, it's not their responsibility to play around you. It's your responsibility to play around them. And, like, that's just a good ranked philosophy in general, is to play around your team rather than expecting them to play around you. But, like, it's also explicitly your job. Cassidy's jobs either involve making space for the tanks, healing your supports and protecting them. You should be bodyguarding your supports and keeping them alive from divers. Or off on flanks killing things and, like, making space. You're not doing any of that, right? You are protecting no one, you are making space for no one, and you can't do that because you don't know where they are. You're not even looking at them. We had no idea where that was. Hey, Alkara. Yeah, I'm not trying to flame you, but, like, we still haven't gotten a second fight. It still has not been a second fight. And we're still not getting a second fight, because we're still here. Literally. Literally. Just sit your happy ass in spawn and sit here. Literally. Like, all you got to do is just wait here. Just chill. Yeah? Wait for 6 people and then walk out. And instead, you're staggering over and over again because you insist on trying to keep doing stuff. You can't be patient. You can't just wait and do nothing so your team can take a full fight. You have to keep poking, and every time you do, you die, right? Just chill. Just chill out. And now your Ana's gonna die. She had to use nade just to stay alive.
I've got unfinished business.
Feeling powerful.
Okay. I'm guessing we were typing there. Our team's in. And now our team is winning from ults. Now it is a full fight. You guys managed to win a fight without actually grouping up, just through sheer dumb luck and ults and the fact that the enemy team is also bad. Like, this is silver, right? It seriously took you guys that long to get a real fight. And you were egregious in this, as was everyone else in your team. Not just you, but like... How can you expect to win fights where you're just heavily outnumbered? Put another way, statistically, in just about, or as far as I know, in any ELO, more or less, you will win 80% of the man advantage fights you take and lose 80% of the man advantage fights you take. So like a 6v5, 80% of the time the 6 wins that, not the 5. Like, duh, right? It seems pretty obvious. They have more people. Even if those people are bad, they're still doing more. And it's still more angles to split attention, to split people apart. Even in bronze, it might not feel that way game to game, and like on an individual game, who knows? But even in bronze, overall, across the board, you win far more fights than you lose where you have number advantage. That's just a fact, right?
60 seconds remaining.
And as it is, your team never gets to have number advantage, ever. Like, you guys had evened it up, and then you lost, and then you died, right? Your ults managed to let you guys even that fight up, but instead of winning it, if your whole team had been there when you used those ults, then you would have been able to win it, not just even it up, right? She's gonna res that, probably. So, you're shooting a Sigma right next to an On. Alright. We do this. Hanzo misses the headshot, lucky us. We come here, and we see an Ana, who is... I know it's red, it's because the replay viewer colors are fucked up. This is your bubble, right? You guys have a monkey. They don't have a monkey. She is in your bubble. You can shoot her. And instead, you look right at Blink Fox instead. And you ignore the person that will keep this guy alive. Now you start shooting her, but... Okay. Good flash, right? You can roll the reload here. Yep. Using the bubble. Good, good, good. Yeah, don't forget to roll the reload. Roll to chase him. Kill him. You can roll fan him. Kill that asshole. Chase. You've already forgotten about him. You have forgotten there's a hog behind you. You can't even hear him behind you. There you go. Don't red cart. You don't need 3 on cart. You need 1 person on cart. And it should not be you, usually. It's probably your brig. And the other 5 all push up and keep the pressure up and chase these staggers. Instead, your monkey did that. Your monkey kept pushing the fight that you guys were winning to keep getting staggers. And y'all left him to die. And so he died. Because instead of this being a 5v3... it was a 2v3. 4 of you stayed behind. Be aggressive. Don't be a coward. It's not your job to push cart. It's your job to push these guys and not let them take this space for free. To keep these staggers going so they don't get to regroup until the cart has moved. The cart will move so much further with one person on it and 5 people up here holding the enemy back than it ever will with 3 and 3. Full stop. These 3 are going to die, and then the cart's going to stop and you 3 are going to die. That's all that's ever going to happen if you split like this. Yeah? In fact, like, outside of some specific situations, if you're going to stack cart, you might as well all stack cart. Unless, like, somebody is just, like, doing something cheeky with the plans to run away to the cart. Like, it's either all 6 of you or it's 1 of you, right? Because now it's a 3 people and 3 people, or 4 people and 2 in this case. Is there Hanzo a Smurf? Nah, definitely not. Nah, I don't think so. I think he's just free. He's just being left alone to do whatever he wants. Die in open space. There's no reason for you to push up this way, when you could instead push through here, look for angles to shoot people, assassinate somebody, roll. And here's the trick. Flanks like this are incredibly strong with good timing. And good timing is key. If you were to pop up right now and do this, you would just die. But if you were to start pushing this way now while your team is regrouping, we need to regroup, right? Push up this way. As soon as your monkey jumps on them or jumps in, pop up and try to shoot somebody and kill them. They're all looking at your monkey after he's jumped in, right? So you can pop up, do something crazy, and then if they turn to look at you, roll, and we out. And if they chase you, then they are chasing you away from their team, out of LOS of their team, into a tiny area where it's easy for you to flash fan them, where they can't get any help, where you can drop and get help from your Ana, if she's paying attention, Silver, and your monkey or whoever, your tanks have just engaged. They've just turned their back on your tanks and are running away from them as they're all dying to them. Like, it's a win-win. This is how you win games. This is how you play dive, and why, like, it would be easier to do this with, like, say, a tracer or something else, because you have mobility to get up and behind, so when the monkey jumps in, you're ready to pinch. Harder to do that on Cassidy, but, like, while your team's regrouping, or while you guys are pushing to take space, set up. Set up for where you think your monkey is gonna jump. And now our monkey is in all alone. So now he's... Oh, sorry, his ball is with him. But, like, your monkey's gonna die here. Oh, sorry. Somehow, Drink Your Beer died instead.
I'm on fire.
You don't win this duel at range. You've shot him 3 times and you've done 2 bars of damage. You're not winning this duel. There is no reason on God's green earth for you to cross out this far. It just means you have to cross that much further back to get to cover. So, if we're regrouping anyway, either we chill and we wait, or push up AD so he can't hit you, but, like, get to here. Use your roll to cross to here as fast as you can, and now he can't shoot you. And now you'll have to, like, worry about crossing up here, but you can then use your roll again if you have to. It's only a 6-second cooldown. And, like, from there, you don't push up here at that point if he's still holding this. If Chef Kev is still holding that, because he'll just block you. From there, you drop here. Can't shoot you. And we can come around this way. And look to do something like this. Look to do something like this. Or even just from here, you need to be careful, but, like, if you hug this along here, you can Nah, he could peek that and kill you. I take that back. I thought you could hug that, but that wheel makes it a pain. So yeah, you would just come around here, and then if you gotta use your roll again, right? And now we're pathing through cover. Don't give him the opportunity to just kill you for free and stagger yet again. There's barely over a minute left to this game. You guys could have 2 fights. You guys could have 2 more fights, full fights, and I will be surprised if you get 1 full fight. You're probably Sonicked. You had your roll. You didn't even use your roll, so you're like barely alive.
60 seconds remaining.
You gotta work on that, eh?
And then you do this from low ground. Which is how you've did your other high noon too. Which should be noted, you've only had 2 high noons this game. And the reason you've only had 2 high noons is not your aim. Like, yeah, if you hit more shots, then sure, whatever. But, like, it's not your aim. It's because you're dead off cooldown. If you were alive and not dead, you would do so much more, right? With the sheer number of shots that you hit currently, you would do so much more. But you're always dead, right? And we're never, ever, ever letting our team get a 6v6. Other people on your team also part of this, right? It's not just you, it's a silver thing. But, like... oh, right. If we were to have flanked through here, and then we pop up here and we high noon. Right? Makes things so much harder for them. And you guys are probably going to win this fight. The Mercy flew into your team, which was dumb of her, but...
Payload's moving up.
Shoot the Mercy, not the Cassidy. Right? If you're hitting headshots, then just kill the Cassidy, because you'll kill him through Mercy healing. But with your current level of mechanics, you're not going to kill him through a Mercy pocket, right? It's not going to happen. He's going to get 3 times as many shots, 3 times as many chances to kill you as you are. Like, he's just going to get healed up, right? Or rather, let me put this another. You're going to have to hit 3 times as many shots as he will to kill him, because, like, the Mercy's healing him up. So either flash fan him to kill him, or just shoot the Mercy, right? And again, we're shooting a hog and not the Ana right in front of us. There we go. And we're pushing cart while our team is trying to push.
Put it on my tab.
You could have saved 2 people there with flash, but you weren't anywhere near. And you also didn't even try to roll in and flash and save them. We look to take this high ground, but it's too early for... Like, taking this high ground's good, but it's too early for you to come here because your team's still in a fight. They're still fighting, and it's a 2v2 right now. If we were already in this, then we flash this, and now it's a 1, 2, 3, 4v2. 3, because the Ana's here trying to run away, right?
Thanks. Put it on my tab.
And like the way we would take this is you'd either come up along here, but I would actually probably come along to here. Boom. Yeah? And now we're shooting in this room, and then we can just roll flash fan to cancel this ult, right? And we save 2 people. And like, could you have known he was going to whole hog people into a corner? I mean, maybe if you were tracking the ult, but that's a bit much to ask as Silver. So like, realistically, not really. But you should have been here anyway, and then that would have given you the opportunity, right? You miss so many opportunities because you're just not in the places you should be. And now we lose this fight. When I was Silver, I forgot that people have object permanence, and I just pretend they didn't notice, even though they were looking at me when I was taking a flank. What's funny is, In silver, if you take a flank and they see you, and you leave, count to 5, and then peek again, they have forgotten about you. If you count to 3, they're still looking for you. They'll look, and then they'll start to panic that they're not doing anything, that they're just looking for the person in the back line who's, just dragging their attention away from the fight, and they'll pivot to go back to what they were doing, and the moment they do that, they've forgotten about you. Count to 5.
60 seconds remaining.
We've forgotten about the hog right behind us. Oh my god, we saw him. We walked up. We see him cross there. And we just completely turn away from him. Can't be doing that, dude.
Status. 30 seconds.
Like,
We're almost out of time.
controlling sightlines. Don't look at one person while somebody else can see you from a different angle. Remember, it's easier for them to shoot you at a 90-degree angle.
Come on, try me.
Like, it's easier for their shots to land.
10 seconds remaining.
Best head for the hills. I'm on fire.
Overtime.
And now, since it's OT, we could all 6-stack cart, or you get your ass up here. And then you could even come to here. But I wouldn't come straight to here, just because if somebody comes up here, they'll be behind you. If you're here, they're not. And you see them coming. It's called distance from angles. No one can flank you without you seeing them coming from a long way. And you have this great sight line. You have cover. Like, just free to hit your shots. And then you could, like I said, you can push up to this window. You can jump across to here. You could also push down here and look to get some free picks on anyone that's hanging out on this side. Like, you get so many more options on the off angles, high ground off angles. If you get pushed here, you can always drop down to your team, right? You don't have to stay there forever against all comers, but use it, take it. It's free. No one in this game is using these. It's like egregious how underutilized high ground is until like Diamond or Masters. It's literally free value in almost every situation, on almost every map, in every comp, against every comp in the game. There are so few exceptions where high ground is bad. There's a couple, but they are so few and far between that right now in Silver, there is no reason whatsoever for you to not be on high grounds at all times forever, no matter what. You will be right more often than you are wrong. And, like, you can start figuring out the times high grounds are bad from there. Don't try to figure out when high ground is good. Figure out when high ground is bad, because it's good almost all of the time. All of the time. Like, I cannot stress this enough. High grounds are free cover, because if you just back up far enough along the high ground, the floor protects you. Which means you can do this. They let you shoot over shields. They split attention if people look at you. It's harder for them to shoot you than it is for you to shoot them. I'll get closer so this is more obvious, but perspective. If you are above someone... If you're above them, shooting up, their head is bigger relative to their body. If you're below them shooting up, their head is smaller relative to their body. It's easier for you to hit headshots and harder for the enemy to hit headshots. It's easier for you to kill them than it is for them to kill you if they're below you. It also tends to give you more escape routes and options, especially since if you're high ground, you can drop for free at any time and have all of these options as well. But if you're Cassidy, you can't just take the high ground anytime you want. You have to go on a fucking hike, right? So you should just be here by default. Okay. Let's take a look at your defense.
Ready for battle.
Oh,
Ready for battle. 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
eat some more
The
snacks.
payload.
Don't worry, my friends. I am your team.
I need healing.
This is fine to start out. And this is good. You're hugging this cover. And then you walk out for no reason. There was no reason to do that. Luckily, you used your roll to live, but now you're not in the fight. And your Mercy is having to heal you up. Your Moira's turn to look at you to heal you up, which means for this brief moment, these two... Where's your other tank? Where is your diva? I'm confused. Oh, she's here. I just didn't see her. Yeah. Sorry, your diva's hard feeding. What is she doing? Yeah, so for this brief moment, these people are fighting a 3v6. I'm not saying don't get healing when you need healing, but don't take damage you can avoid because it pulls resources away from your front line. A lot of resources away from your front line whenever you have to back out, right? Not as many resources as if you die, because at least these resources are going to be back in a second or two, right? But don't take damage you can just avoid instead. And then we immediately cross again. And then we immediately cross again and we die.
This is not your time.
You look like you've seen one of those.
Help me.
We're basically demanding a hard pocket from one of our supports. And that can be fine if we're killing things. But this play here. If you want to stay right here and shoot this Mercy, I love it. I love it so much. Right here. And then you can always roll out and we're good. But the moment we stepped out, we exposed ourselves to all these people. And then you stayed in and you died for a pick. And yeah, the Mercy's worth more than you in theory. Here's her spawn door. Here's your spawn door. She's going to be back in this fight in 15 seconds. You are going to be back in this fight another 20 to 30 seconds after that. Probably 20 seconds after that, right? You're almost missing an entire fight where they're going to be 6v5 versus your team, right? This was not worth it, and we just hard stay in, turning away from the entire enemy team, fully exposed like that. Like, that was... I hope you see how egregious that was, right? You just committed suicide. You literally just killed yourself.
Back into the mix. It's high noon.
Yeah. It can be hard to recognize your mistakes in Silver, because look at this. You guys are still winning. Looking at this, you guys win this game. Absolutely. You win this game, right? Because they're every bit as bad, right? They're making the same mistakes. But if you just stop making these mistakes, you probably won't be Silver, right? Has nothing to do with your aim. I doubt that you would have an easy time getting to plat with these mechanics, right? You're probably going to want to grind your aim out a bit to get to plat. There is no reason on God's green earth you can't just vibe and gold on this. No reason whatsoever. If you just die less. Whatever, like all of the different factors that I've talked about, stop dying. You're dead off cooldown, so you can't get anything done. Half of this game, at least half of this game, half of your potential uptime shooting them has been spent running from spawn. Respawning or running from spawn. Fully half of your time in this game. right? It's like 30 seconds every time you die. 10 to respawn plus however long to get back to the fight. And it's really important to understand. That was good. But, sorry. Right here is the same thing. And it's safer. And it gives you cover. And it gives you an escape route. Or an escape route. There's no reason for you not to do that right here. Versus right here. And now you're cut off. Right? I mean, your Rhine's here. You guys are up 3. So, like, this will probably be fine. But, yeah. Orion's 1 HP and he pins in deep. Silver things. It's also noted it's easier to hit shots when no one is looking at you and you're to the side of them. If you were to pop up right here, where this Cassidy can't see you, it would be easier for you to hit your shots. Full stop. Then being shot at, shooting at people that are looking at you. Shooting somebody who's looking at you is so much harder than shooting somebody who's unaware of you. And in this ELO, in Masters, it's easy to find people unaware of you. In Masters. Hell, low GM, you can find people without great awareness. Like, so, play safer, play smarter, and you'll hit more shots anyway. And beyond that, warm up in deathmatch. Like, I know you said it's been a few days, so your aim's shakier than it usually is. I'm not trying to, like, pay too much attention to your mechanics, to be honest. I don't think it's the most important thing in this game. But from what adjust this based on how you usually do. From what I've seen in this game of your mechanics, you should be able to vibe in gold with better decisions. And plat, you'll need a little bit of improvement, but not as much as you think. Diamond is the rank where you really have to be kind of mechanically gifted a lot of the time. But, like, we got some ELO to go before that, right? So just, like, before you play, hop into a try-hard free-for-all. Try-hard free-for-all, and just do your absolute best. And here's the thing. Try-hard free-for-all, especially as a silver player, like, when you first drop in there, you're gonna get hard farmed. It's just, like, you're gonna be dead all of the time. You'll barely ever kill any of them back. It's gonna feel really rough. It's okay. It is 100% okay. You will never learn more or faster than playing against people who are better than you are, right? Anytime you get a smurf on the enemy team, you should get excited. You should smile. Because, yeah, you'll probably lose that game, but if you start learning from the smurf, you're going to come out of it a better player, and you probably won't win the next, or lose the next one, right? So, when you're playing up against these Plat, Diamond, Masters, GM players that tend to be in try-hard free-for-alls, your first goal is to live as long as you can. Yeah? On the duels, just live as long as you can. Get away alive even. Run away. Don't let them finish the kill, right? We're taking a duel, we're losing it, and then we manage to escape and get away, right? Work on that. Work on not dying against people who are so much better than you, they can farm you all goddamn day, right? It's going to be rough, and it's going to feel really bad, I'm not going to lie. But in a week or two of doing this, like 5-10 minutes, yeah, just warm up for a bit before you queue. You don't have to, like, beat your head against the wall doing this. You're going to come out a better player in, like, a couple of weeks. It does not take a lot. It just takes consistency. Every time you play, try hard free-for-all. 5, 10, 15 minutes. If you want to also do it in queue, because DPS queues are long, that's even better. But the important thing is don't burn yourself out on it, right? Consistency is more important than one big block of time, right? If you put 2 hours in and you hate it and then you don't do it again for a week, that's no good. Better to do 5-10 minutes a day every day for a week than 2 hours for one day and then not touch it for a week. Trust. Yeah. And then your next goal is just going to be winning those duels. And it'll help with your movement mechanics and how well you play cover. It's going to help with your aim, because you're just going to be forced to shoot at people with way better movement than the targets you're used to. Oh shit, what was the other thing that was going to help? And it'll help you with a lot of your matchups, your 1v1s. Because, like, one of the biggest pools of knowledge you will need to develop in this game to climb to a high level is understanding deeply every single matchup of every single hero in this game. That's why I'm like, it's a massive pool, because you should know, first off, how Cassidy plays with a Mei, how he plays with a Ball, how he plays with a Moira, how he plays with a Rhine, how he plays with a Mercy, and how he plays against an Orisa, how he plays against Hanzo, how he plays against another Cassidy, etc. So a lot of these heroes you'll see in Deathmatch, and you will learn how to take a 1v1 against a Hanzo. You'll learn how to win a 1v1 against another Cass, how to take a 1v1 against an Ana, etc. And, like, it might seem pretty obvious to shoot them, duh, but it's not. The individual, you have to learn this Hanzo's cooldown. So, like, there's tricks to dodging storm arrows, for example. Or, like, maybe you need to make sure he bait his storm arrows first, and then you can go kill him, depending on the matchup, right? Like, if I'm on Lucio, I don't worry about baiting storm arrows if I have a certain amount of distance from the Hanzo. If I can maintain a certain amount of distance, then I can dodge his storm arrows. No problem. No problem. I'm good at it, right? But I've practiced that a lot, primarily in Deathmatch. And then if, like, I can't have that distance, if I need to get close to the Hanzo, I understand that within a certain range, it's really hard for him to miss those storm arrows, and he's just going to mow me down machine gun style. Just plop, and down I go. So, if I want to engage a Hanzo close, on Lucio, my first one trick, my first big hero, I learned through Deathmatch that I need to wait until his storm arrows are gone, and then I need to be up on walls dancing around his head, because if I'm on level ground with him, he can hit the headshot close in, right? But if I'm above him dancing on his head and he doesn't have storm arrows, I can win that 1v. This is just an example, right? You're going to have to learn that for every hero you play. There, like 30-ish heroes in the game? So you're going to have to learn each hero, how they play against and how they play with each other hero in the game. And, like, starting with the heroes that you play, and then eventually learning the ones that you don't play also. Because then you're going to know that, like, this Hanzo is going to look to use his storm arrows to shred Wrecking Ball. Right? So, if I see Wrecking Ball go in, this is just an idea. I might, and I know Hanzo has storm arrows, I might try to pressure the Hanzo instead so he turns to look at me where I can dodge those storm arrows. I don't know. I'm reaching here. I just, like, looked at 3 random heroes and pulled something out of my ass. It's the idea, though, right? And deathmatch, free-for-all deathmatch against better players will significantly help with learning all your matchups, learning how to take these 1v1s and, like, the individual particular mechanics of them, right? It's not something that you have to learn all at once. Any amount you learn is going to help you climb. And eventually, it will be the size of the ocean, the amount of knowledge you have just in matchups of how different heroes play with and against different heroes. It gets so deep. Probably the single largest pool of knowledge you will need out of this game to, like, play at a GM level if that's your goal. But, yeah. Focus on living, play deathmatch. And understand that it is not your support's job to keep you alive. And it's not your tank's job. Well, it is kind of your tank's job to make space, but it's also your job to make space for your tank. So, if space is not being made for you to walk in, it might be your tank's fault, it might be your fault, it might be the two of you together, right? It's hard to say. You can't just blame your tanks because you didn't have room to walk in, right? You are also a part of making room to walk in. Your supports, they should help you. They should keep you alive. But it is not their job. This is philosophy. Some people disagree with me on this, but in my opinion, the only person responsible for keeping you alive is you, no matter what hero you play. This Reinhardt lives and dies by his own hammer, regardless of his supports. Because these supports, if they get dove, they have to live first, right? They have other things they need to deal with. They have, like, if they get flanked, they get shot at. If somebody else, God forbid, needs help and they have to turn to help them too, right? So it is behoved on this Rhyme to not extend so far that he will die if his supports have to turn away from him. You have to always assume at all times that your supports won't be able to help you. And then if they do help you, that's bonus, right? You get to stay in longer. You get to do even more. But you need to get out alive, right? Okay. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. And if you want to drop another VOD, please feel free. Like, hopefully that didn't come across as too harsh. Like, I understand you don't know what you don't know. And I'm not trying to flame just you. Like, it was everyone in that lobby. Like, you won that game. Clearly you won that game. Yeah.